Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Welcome, party people, to the best podcast ever in the world.
In the entirety of the planet Earth.
The best three-part podcast about Gamera, brought to you by our Patreon producer, Bobgrenville. That's what you're listening to. I'm one of your hosts, Dave Bell.
I'm a second number of your hosts, Tom Ryman.
Yeah. We got weird energy.
I
do
blame
we not,
you.
Yes. No, this is entirely on me this time. You were fine, and I came in like, and just fucking took a shit all over the place.
You came in like Gamera.
I came in exactly like
just
Gamera.
Crashing
just
drunkenly into shit.
Yep, pinwheeling from the ocean.
What the fuck do you guys want? Bugs? All right, let me knock this thing over. Get ready to see the might of Gamera.
Gamera really, and I want to get into
shit.
this. If you look at Gamera as a drunk adult,
it makes a lot of
same.
sense. Yeah. As a drunk divorced parent.
Yeah, exactly. At like a birthday party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or just suddenly remembering there's a Little League tournament that weekend.
Yeah.
All right, I'm here.
Showing up in a Hawaiian shirt.
It's fucking smashing into buildings.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Fucking Christ. We're up to... So this is our second episode, which means we are going to be tackling Gamera 2, Attack of Legion from 1996. I believe.
Yes. It was 1 year, exactly 1 year.
Yeah.
After the previous one.
And
it's quick turnaround for a sequel. Quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround.
I mean, there's not much to these movies.
No, there really isn't.
Throw some motherfuckers into some costumes.
It's hard to even do escalation. Yeah, it's just I don't know if you guys know the broad strokes, but a monster shows up. And then Gamera shows up and fights the monster. Mm-hmm. There is some continuation from the first movie. That's Guardian of the Universe is the first one. Specifically, like one character.
Really? Yeah, it's technically two, because that goofball in the beginning was in the first movie.
Right.
Well, guys, didn't she used to be a detective in Hiroshima? He's like, yes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that dude was from the first one.
What the fuck? Yeah, I guess that brings us into our first section called Let's Cut and Poke. This is where we just go over the general plot of the episode and tell you what happened. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to start with the fact that this movie came out the same year as ID4.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, and it has, I don't want to say similarities, but it had one, which is that the comet or the meteor, and they go, it's slowing down.
Yeah.
Which was like they couldn't have stolen from ID4 because they made them the same year.
Yeah, they came out at the same time, yeah.
And everybody's shocked that it's slowing down. It also felt a little bit like Starship Troopers, which came later. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody was stealing anything from anyone. I just think it's interesting this was on our mind at the time.
There was a vibe. It also has the little monsters, and there's a scene in it that's almost identical to the raptors showing up in the power station in Jurassic Park, which is something that Emmerich does in his Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like parallel thinking in big spectacle action movies around this time.
Yeah, they have a little autopsy scene. They blow up cities. Mm-hmm. They realize that we're hitting that point, a point that I've written about, which is that around the mid '90s is when we start making victories more grim in movies. I think maybe maybe this isn't exactly at the 90s, and I think it has to do with different cultures, because certainly Godzilla films before this destroyed a lot of stuff. But this is when we start like really fucking up cities, I feel like. Independence Day for America, it really felt like the first time we were like, wow, so we're just blowing up the city, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then it's just like a victory to be thankful you're alive. Like life. Yeah, so this felt like that because they fucking detonate a fucking city in this.
They do.
Yeah. What did you think of this movie overall? Had you seen it before?
No, I haven't seen any of these. Any
Okay.
of this 90s trilogy of Gamera movies I've not seen. I wasn't even aware of them until we started doing this podcast.
Oh, okay.
I'd seen some of the older Gamera movies when I was a kid.
Right.
This movie was, I mean, it suffers the same problem I have with every other kaiju movie, which is that it's boring.
Yeah.
For very long stretches of time.
Well, yeah.
But this does some cool things. Like I enjoyed a lot of aspects of this movie. I like that it's kind of darker.
Yes.
I like that they got really creative with the evil monster in this movie, because it starts out as just like a swarm of little monsters.
It's Cloverfield, like
Yeah.
how the little monsters come off of the big one. I was going to say this movie is great until Gamera shows up. I think this is my favorite Gamera movie that we've watched so far, because like that subway scene.
Subway scene's hardcore.
It's fucking radical.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do this thing where, so the plot, for people who are curious, is a meteors crash on the Earth, and then they don't find any trace of it, and they're searching for it, and they turn out to be these fucking little goblins, these fucking like Starship Troopers looking motherfuckers with like pincers and eyeballs in their mouths, sort of. And they're underground and they're feeding off electricity and they're eating our glass.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's these really creepy scenes where like a subway stops in the tracks and they're like the driver is looking out and like these fucking terrifying looking things attack them, and then they send the army down and they attack them, and they're making these big pods, which I guess is they're like growing a plant that's already there.
Yeah.
Supersized.
Yeah, and it like stretches out. They use the subway. They make their little pods, their little pod hives in buildings, and then they burst this seed cloud.
Yeah, and they refer it to that. They're saying like it's about to seed, and I was like, oh, ew, don't. Oh, I just realized what that means.
Yeah, it's about to
fucking
come.
the planet. Yeah, it's fucking the planet. A random soldier quotes the Bible, and that's how they go with the name Legion.
Mm-hmm. I
don't know who. Like he like says it to a friend, and then the news is like the creature called Legion. And I was like, what? Did you hear him? So I guess it's. And then a big monster comes out of it, and it looks like a floppy horseshoe crab, shoots blue ranger lasers, and it burrows, and it was just like, okay, well, this got less interesting now.
Yeah, I like that the big bug is still, it's kind of a gnarly, strange design. It looks
again, it's my
like
favorite.
Lobster, crab, centipede. It's really bonkers.
I loved its gnarly whip power, its laser whip.
Yeah, like its final form.
Yeah.
I was like, that is not. I was not expecting this development.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
That's again, this is my favorite one so far because the enemy monster is so gnarly.
Yeah.
I don't know what it wants because they were saying that it like uses the pod to explode into space, its spores.
Uh-huh.
So is the idea, is it just on its way somewhere else? Because it landed here. It's like infecting planet to planet, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like Borg style.
Sure. Yeah, and one of the scientists mentions like a species of bird, like that's how it migrated throughout the islands of someplace, I forget which. was it just, going, landing on one island, getting set up, moving to the other island. And that's just what this thing is doing all throughout space.
Right. And so this all happens in the first 30 minutes. It's about to seed all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just about to shotgun it's hot monster cum.
Yeah, exactly. Into the
cosmos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which will destroy the city in the process.
Yeah. And then at this point I wrote the note, where the hell is Gamera? Because it was 30 minutes in, and almost after I was finishing typing that, Gamera fucking pinwheels from the ocean.
Yeah, he does. He chases a bunch of dolphins are scrambling to get out of his way.
And
he almost takes out a helicopter as he explodes from the ocean.
Yeah. No one fucking called him, and he just smashes into a building. He lands into the building and just starts screaming like an asshole. And everybody, my favorite thing was everybody was like, "Oh, why is Gamera here?" When he did it. Yeah. And it was well, what did you expect? It's one of my first questions about this movie is it felt like this movie nobody in this movie remembered what Gamera was.
Half the cast doesn't, which leads to the movie's most frustrating moments. Yeah. So we have to once again go. It's not as severe as it is in the previous film, but once again we have to go through the dog and pony show of the military being we don't know whose side Gamera's on. It's yeah, we do. We do.
We sort of do though, because the moral of this movie is fucked up. I mean, I like it. Mm-hmm. The moral of the movie at the end is Gamera is protecting the world, not necessarily humans. And if we, I don't know, start polluting the world, Gamera would come and show up and just start fucking smashing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Gamera should.
And if he whips out that unibeam from Christ again, like he does at the end.
I looked at the Wikipedia description of what had happened because I was like, what is that? And the Wikipedia description is just and then Gamera made a bunch of yellow suck into his body and fired it at people. It's even the Wikipedia doesn't know what the fuck Gamera did there. All I know is we really need to be careful about this monster.
Yeah, he's a guardian spirit of Earth. So
when he pulled that shit and then everybody was just yay, and then he just bounces and it was man, I feel like people should be more concerned about what Gamera just did.
We need to get the Green New Deal going real quick before this motherfucker comes back.
Yeah. Also, everybody in all of these movies should get checked for radiation poisoning, all the time, right? Whatever Gamera's firing out of him at these fucking weird laser whips and stuff, it can't be good for anybody. But I love that it's not just that they're debating whether or not Gamera is good or bad. It's just that in the first part when they're what are these monsters? No one says do you think this has to do with Gamera? Mm-hmm. They're just what is this? What's going on? And it's just weird that they aren't all just talking about Gamera all the time or what had happened a year ago. And then when Gamera shows up, I guess they don't know they're in a Gamera film, but they're just so surprised that he's there. And it's of course he's there.
Right.
He's
if
Gamera.
that thing showed up and fought 3 giant bats in mainland Japan and then returned mysteriously to the ocean, we would never stop talking about that.
Yeah, we would constantly, no one would go near the ocean ever
again. There'd be there'd be religions, there'd be entire... there'd be entire pyramid schemes built up around this. There'd be, Gamera, everyone on the planet would be spending all of their time wondering what Gamera is doing.
Yeah,
at that specific moment.
Where
Gamera is, what's he doing, when is he coming back?
All they seem to have is a web page about Gamera.
Right, they treat Gamera like a dude who had a guest spot on Seventh Heaven one time.
Right.
And they're oh, I wonder, more, I don't know, fucking a better sitcom than that. But
yeah.
Just I wonder when that person's going to be back.
Why did that webpage crumple like virtual paper, by the way?
I have no idea.
Okay, because I don't know what happened there.
Because what I said aloud was, well, you can't delete the internet.
Yeah. The guy, is it a joke? There's a guy who's sitting down, he's like, I can't read English. And the other guy's like, I'll do it. And he like clicks a couple buttons, and the Gamera webpage like in the screen
just like
crumples.
Implodes.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, darn it. And I thought like, oh, does this have to do with the monsters? Are they doing something? No, they just move on.
Yeah. I
don't know what that is. It just like back when we didn't quite know what the internet was?
It's 96. It's not like
the
internet's not that new.
I don't know what that was. Anyway, Gamera shows up, pinwheels out of the ocean, crashes into a building, and just it reminded me of a drug person attacking a beehive, and then the bees attack, and he screams and rolls around. That's essentially what happens to Gamera.
Yeah.
In the first battle, he's just like, I don't like this pod. And
right? Yeah,
hitting it.
Yeah, it is exactly like a dad walking out to the pool to swat a wasp net down with the skimmer, with a beer in the other hand.
Exactly, that's what happened.
And then the wasps descend upon him.
Gamera just shows up out of nowhere and does this, and he just and then they swarm him, and he's just like, God,
fuck,
my
fuck,
eyes.
Fuck. And then he spins off. Bugs flying off his body.
Yes, that was the best part. He spins off and
drenching the city in his blood as he spins off into the ocean.
They have a shot of a building, and his blood just goes on the side of the building, and they're like, "Oh God, it's his blood!" And all I could think is, I bet that shit went for miles. You know?
Oh yeah, it's coating the city.
Yeah, there's like a farmer somewhere. It's just like, what the fuck is that? Bug crushes him because he's fleeing off these weird alien bugs too.
Yeah, that's to me that was like that was the funniest part.
Oh, absolutely!
Like the wide shot of him taking off, he's just spinning like a dickhead, and you can see all these bugs just flying off of his body. Yeah. So good.
So that's round one. Doesn't go well for Gamera.
No, he figured out wings though this time. Did you notice that? Like his arms become wings now when he's flying.
Yeah, like it's so funny because it's still a turtle. So it's just this big turd in the sky with these stupid
wings,
flippers.
With these stupid wings.
Just like, whoa. Just
zooming
rocketing.
Through the air.
It is the least, like, Gamera is... Why did they make it a turtle?
He's so undignified in everything he does.
Yeah. And not at all, like, he's not agile. Like,
I mean, none of these things are.
No, and that's really all it would take is like one fast creature, and Gamera, it'd be over for Gamera.
I mean, most of these things.
Yeah, these things are just they're so bulky and weird. God, so yeah, that's the first.
I'm picturing fight. Like a rail thin Olympic sprinter kaiju monster.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be terrifying.
Yeah. It really would be, and it would win all the battles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what Gamera's deal is in this. Like, they sort of just say, like, yeah, he's the protector. But I guess, like, what, did he smell the aliens, get mad? And, like, he rips up their pod, too, like, from the roots.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't seem like... Gamera's not checking for casualties. They keep making these excuses where they're like, oh, thank God we evacuated.
No, yeah,
but Gamera's
a big picture guy.
Yeah. When Gamera lands in that city, Gamera lands right onto a building.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't check that one.
That's not even talking about the one of the later fights when he's like strafing through the city and just ripping up blocks of buildings.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck, and it's very clear at this point.
Why would
like
he?
The connection?
He's an eternal guardian spirit of Earth.
Right. And I guess we can get into this in the next section, but I love the last section that they say, like, there's a girl who can talk to Gamera, and it's like, not really.
Yeah, not
like,
really.
it's not like a spiritual connection or anything. It's just like she takes Gamera's battle damage. Like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to think of what else happens. They mostly just like figure out what's going on. The creatures move. They're going towards Tokyo, as they do. They have a few stops on the way.
They set up another pod that Gamera shows up and brings down, but it explodes
in Gamera's.
Not right in his goddamn face.
They fight at the airport, which I loved because that's one where they're like, "Look, it's Gamera," and Gamera's like flying, doing like a circle, and the thing comes out of the ground, and Gamera just runs into it.
Yeah, it clotheslines him.
Yeah,
like they show its like tusk hitting him right in the collarbone.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's like a real awkward impact.
Yeah, it's watching one of them YouTube videos of some idiot falling off a ladder or something.
Yeah.
It's like just an awkward, painful looking collision. And the big mother bug comes out of the ground and fights him that time. And honestly, fucking wrecks him.
Well, he dies. Right?
Sort of.
When Gamera. There's a point.
He gets
no. It's when he crawls to the fucking.
He
pod.
crawls to the pod and knocks it over
and
in time for it to explode right in his face.
Gamera really fucks up throughout this movie. Like most of this movie,
it really is him crashing into shit and then getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, like a lot. Like Gamera has maybe 4 good seconds. And it's when Gamera uses all of the world's yellow to fire at this creature. Like, Gamera's got one move that works. Even at the end when Gamera thinks it defeated it, it shows up with its fucking laser whips.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's
Gamera
brain lasers.
Yeah, mostly gets his ass kicked.
Yeah.
So this thing explodes in Gamera's face, and Gamera just never moves again from there.
Right. He's like encased in
crusted.
He's encased in like solid rock.
Yeah.
So he just looks like a big statue of this mopey ass turtle just sitting down. Just sad turtle just sitting, moping.
And like imagine if it just that's the end of Gamera.
Right. It's
and
just
like they built a city around that
to
later.
build it around this thing.
This big sad turtle. After like 10 years, they're like, look, that thing is leaking some really smelly shit. Like, we got to do something about this. But instead, all the town's children go to look at it, and we'll get to that. I'm sure.
their tears bring him back to life.
Yeah. And then Gamera gets brought back to life by the girl who can communicate with him using that weird metal.
Using her thing from her little talisman from the previous movie, but it breaks.
It breaks
this time, so that's it.
And therefore their bond breaks.
They didn't have much of a bond, like we were
saying.
No,
they really didn't.
They can't really communicate with each other. It's like she can text Gamera, but only using autofill.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like she can only use predictive text to talk to Gamera.
And Gamera can only use screams.
Yeah, I'm picturing the predictive text in Gamera's phone. It's all just with like a varying number of H's at the end.
Yeah. And then the final battle. And I want to there was one thing I noted that I only noted at this point, and I don't know if it's true previous, was the final battle has no music.
Oh, I didn't notice if it did.
Okay. It didn't, but I wonder if the other ones didn't. Like, that's one of those things that works really well in movies, and I just was surprised to see in a kaiju fight. I'm trying to think of, for example, the end of the first Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. You know, when he's just getting his ass handed to him by Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
Like, it's really effective way to do a scene like that, especially like superheroes. Because superheroes are so larger than life, and then it's just like a silent beatdown, and it's like it feels very real. And I just noticed this movie did it as well.
Yeah,
there's just no music, and they're just meat slapping meat as Gamera's getting his ass handed to him.
Yeah, it's like the this is 96. Yeah, it's like the T-Rex attack in Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah. So great choice.
Yeah.
I just feel like this choice was a little before its time. I feel like this movie in general, not before its time necessarily, but like, it's just like no, maybe it's slightly before its time. I want to say
it gets. I don't know if
just
it's necessarily
oddly effective.
It's very effective. Yeah. It's. I wouldn't necessarily say it's before its time, but it might be. Man, of all of the giant monster movies I've seen, like this one. First of all, this is interesting. This might be like the only direct sequel I think I've seen of these old Toho Godzilla Gamera movies. Because like I mean they're all technically sequels, but there's like, you know, it's like which fucking Godzilla's fighting Mega Godzilla. It's like, yeah, that's technically a sequel to Godzilla, but not really.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like it has that plus it's doing like the Empire Strikes Back type deal where it's like part 2's a little bit more grim and
right.
Things don't look quite as like you're saying. It ends on a note where you're like, oh, this might actually not be that great.
Right. It literally ends with them being like, we better fucking watch our back. Does it make sense? I don't know if you've seen this, but the director of this movie also directed the first one we watched.
Mm-hmm.
Also directed fucking Death Note, 2006's Death Note.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Okay. That's interesting. Also directed Office Ladies, Lesbians in Uniforms 3 in 1984.
Sure, you got to start somewhere.
Also directed Wet and Swinging. I think this person started somewhere several times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever. I'm not judging.
Kind of sounds like you are.
Little judgy.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like you said, got to start somewhere. No, are you kidding me? If someone's like, so I used to direct 80s porn, you think I'm the kind of guy who'd be like, oh, shame on you. Like, that's fucking amazing, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this director's done a lot of stuff that I've never seen, but a lot of like big. They did the 3 Gamera films.
Mm-hmm.
Did some Godzilla ones. Something called Haunted School 3. Seems straightforward.
Yeah.
Kind of want to watch it. I don't know what it's about, but I just kind of want to watch something called Haunted School. Anywho, should we move on to our next section? We haven't even done our next section. That is using spinning jets. He will win. This is where we talk about useless humans. The title has nothing to do with anything.
No, it's just, you know.
Yeah.
It's lyrics from the Gamera song.
Sure is. The first note is the humans aren't as useless this time.
No, that's true. They're much more proactive this time. So we get over kind of, by virtue of being the sequel, we get to skip a little bit of the people puzzling over what can this inexplicable natural phenomenon mean, and we're like, it's monsters. It means monsters.
It means monsters. I like that they're the first time they see the pods, they're just like, let's blow it up.
Yeah.
And then I love the line the soldier has where it's like, I'm amazed the Rose Department is letting us do this. And it's just like, yeah, they're just like, oh shit, yeah, I guess let's just fucking blow it up.
Yeah, let's not fuck around this time.
Yeah.
Remember those bats? Oh, thank
you.
Yeah.
They do that thing again, though, where the politician comes on TV and talks about how they can justify lethal force. And like, and therefore we are at war. And it's like, this is post it exploding a city. And I guess this has to do with politics in Japan.
I think so. Because this is much more of a thing, this movie. Japan, I believe this is correct, has no standing army.
Ah. I also just like the idea of a government coming out on TV and being like, this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to explain why. Like, it wasn't a bad thing they were doing, even though it's like a giant monster that blew up a city, and it's like, of course, go fucking attack it. But they like go on TV and they talk about why they're going to attack it and why that's justifiable. That actually counts to useless humans. Like you said, they have no army. Mm-hmm. Why isn't the world helping?
I mean, there's a couple of headlines where like this was pretty sweet too. I don't know if you noticed this. But when they're flashing the newspapers in the after the second pod where it blows up the city, it's like the American president promises aid, and it's like we shan't abandon our allies in this time of need. But like if you look at one of the other articles on the newspaper they showed, it's something about like Giuliani pitching a fit over something in New York.
Beautiful.
Fucking Giuliani.
Okay, so we sent aid, but by what do we mean aid? Because it really
I don't know, because
like...
there's a base on Okinawa. There's like American military presence in Japan.
Right.
So it's like, what are they doing at this time?
Like we have a lot, you know?
Yeah.
We got a lot to give. I didn't see one single fucking American plane.
No American plane, not a single UN helmet.
And here's the thing. Is that I don't even think it's a matter of like being like diplomatic. If Japan was just like, hey, so a year ago, a giant monster attacked other giant monsters and then slipped into the ocean that we share, maybe you want to be on the lookout. Like, this isn't Japan's problem. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just happening there. But it's not like it's going to stop there. And so that's why it's like... You'd think we'd just be right there fighting it because it's a giant monster and it doesn't know borders.
Dave, you've seen the last couple of years of geopolitics, right?
All right. That is a very good point. Mm-hmm. That is an extremely good point.
America and would simply pretend it was not
until
their
it was right there.
Until Gamera was crashing through the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah. Well, Gamera would just destroy America. Like, let's be honest. If Gamera... Let's say Gamera got knocked out fighting a giant bee's nest or whatever, and just woke back up since the 90s and saw what was going on. Gamera would attack America, probably, right?
He'd be zooming comically over here as we record this.
Yeah, he'd just be pinwheeling fucking through Washington because he'd just see us as a threat on the world in general.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, we got to get rid of that.
Yeah, we don't need any of that. What are they doing? He'd be swatting cruise ships out of the fucking ocean. Like, you fucking serious? Look at these things. You're just dumping trash everywhere, you motherfuckers. I'm Gamera. The fuck do you think? The fuck do you think you're doing?
I'm just picturing him like wading through the ocean, gathering cruise ships up underneath his arm.
Yeah.
Like he's picking up trash.
Look at all these dead penguins. What the fuck's wrong with you guys? Yeah, just picking like he's clean, like he's a mom cleaning a room.
Yeah, picking up after the kids.
Yeah,
just like
murdering
6
people.
Cruise ships underneath his arm.
Yeah.
What
hurls them into
Where
space?
Do these keep coming? Yeah, just throwing them into space. One or two of them land on the moon.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's all fine.
But it just, we're pretty useless in the sense that no other country is kicking in here, and that's funny to me considering that it's more than Japan's problem. Also on a small scale, those guards that were terrified by purple light. Mm-hmm. I mean, it did turn out to be a fucking weird crab alien, but still.
An entire swarm of weird crab aliens.
Yeah, bad beer guards. That's all I'm saying.
They did not guard the beer. Yeah.
No. What? Also one of my favorite things that they do in this movie is they lose track of the monsters.
All the time.
All the time, and not just this movie, and like all movies, all giant monster movies. They seem to have a lot of trouble with this.
Yeah, you remember the helicopter chase in Godzilla?
Yeah.
Where they lose Godzilla in fucking New York City. It's like, are you kidding?
And they try to make it seem like, no, he's in the subway, and it's like, well, okay, first of all, are there caverns in the subway? Like he's burrowing, and if he's burrowing,
does this movie take place in the Hollow Earth universe?
Yeah. What the fuck is happening? And if he's burrowing down there, then you bet your ass there's going to be some like ground displacement. Motherfucker's going to be like Bugs Bunny and shit.
Yeah, every skyscraper in New York suddenly just collapses into the ground. Yeah. Just a big sinkhole opens up.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, like though it's so weird. They do it because it's weird that these movies want to make like them like a surprise and giant. And it's like you can't quite have both. Although they do justify it in this because the big monster burrows. But Gamera's got no excuse. Gamera's just soaring through the sky.
Yeah.
Or
moping.
Or moping.
Petrified and moping in the ruins of a blasted city.
What an asshole.
Yeah, what a stupid drunk dickhead.
But I would say for this section, honestly, the humans almost do more than Gamera does. The humans blow up that one. Well, Gamera finishes off that pod, but they also they ward off the swarm.
Yeah, they kill the swarm. And then when they actually shoot rockets at like Big Lobstar,
it fucks it up.
It fucks it up.
And Gamera
I was like, reload. Like, shoot some more. I know those aren't the only 6 we have.
Yeah, if you keep doing that, it feels like you could have handled this without Gamera. And they probably could have. Gamera would have just stayed petrified. But yeah, I don't know. Good job,
looking
humans,
down at his
one.
toes.
Yeah, single tear, petrified tear rolling down its cheek.
They look like big, strong hands, don't they?
Oh man!
I mean, that's the vibe. That's the vibe of petrified Gamera.
Absolutely, it is. Poor Gamera, big jackass.
Yeah, big dork.
That's all I have for useless humans. That's all I was.
Yeah, just the thing that I already pointed out, where we still have to have the scene where like the military leader's like, "No, we don't know whether we can trust Gamera." I'm like,
right.
Kind of do.
We kind of do.
We kind of do.
He kind of beat up those bats and then left.
Left.
Yeah, he didn't
even after y'all shot him a bunch.
Yeah, he like didn't stay to talk to the cops or anything, but he seemed like he was cool.
He didn't fill out a report, but like
be amazing, like a Gamera with a little pen signing a piece of paper.
Yeah, Gamera has a P.O. box just for the sake of contracts.
Final section then, before we get to our ranking. Our section being Friend to All Children.
Oh,
it's where we talk about the level of child endangerment or people endangering kids throughout this movie. I'll start with the fact that a city exploded, and like the newspaper says minimum casualties. But, yeah.
But that's after we had a scene with 2 of the main characters being like, "Oh, we got to get out of the city. The pod's going to blow." And then one of the characters says, "It won't make any difference. We can't get far enough away."
Exactly.
So we know lots of people got put into the earth that day.
Oh, yeah. Along with Gamera's fucking giant petrified body, there's thousands of little children bodies petrified all over the city.
Can't emphasize enough that the pod explodes directly in his face. It looks like the scene in T.
Funny.
It looks like the scene in T2 where all the skin gets blasted off of Sarah Connor's body.
Yes. It is.
It's just him eating an explosion with the center of his head.
Yeah, it's the kind of like end that a villain has in a movie where the villain like thinks the bomb's on the plane and it's not. You know what I mean? And like opens the treasure and the bomb's in the treasure and he's like, "Oh no!" and it explodes.
Yeah,
it's
and they have enough time to like put up one hand and be like, "Nah!"
Yeah.
Puts up.
It is the equivalent of like a nuclear bomb exploding in Gamera's face.
An inch away from his face.
And it would be one thing to say like, "Oh, but he took it." The thing is, he didn't. It killed him. It fucking killed Gamera.
It turned him into a fucking public park statue. It turned him into the saddest bird fountain.
If you need to know what kills Gamera, it's a nuclear blast to the face. That'll do it. Yeah. Problem solved.
Just right in his face. And it's an extended shot too. We get a few seconds of Gamera's panicked face just burning in this explosion.
It's great. Great film. So definitely some children died there.
A few.
Yeah, just a tad bit.
How is he not at least blind after that? Like seriously.
He just shakes it off like it's the fucking ending of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
When it's Dana and that's what happens is the kids use their love or something to bring him back to life, and he just goes connection and shakes it. Yeah. Shouldn't use that connection to bring back all the dead kids in that city, but whatever.
Listen, it only works with Gamera.
I love there's like one adult there. Like they are just like street kids that were just like, let's hang around this barrel fire and stare at Gamera's corpse. That's all the kids are doing for like days. I mean, I would too, don't get me wrong.
Listen, he's friend to all children, so it's a job only they can do.
Yeah, I just love it because they're just sitting there. I'd expect some like adults with lawn chairs and beers, just like, let's go look at that big burnt monster for a while. That thing is fucking crazy.
You want to get your picture taken in front of the monster?
In front of the big burnt
front of the sad monster.
Bummer monster that couldn't save anyone.
He's just real bummed.
Just forever frozen in the moment it realized it didn't save anybody. I imagine Gamera killed some kids when it shook off those monsters from its body and they went flying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The child endangerment, so we meet the teen that can communicate with Gamera, but not really. And the other woman immediately flies her into the kill zone.
Yeah.
It's just like, come with me. You'll help me bring back Gamera, which she somehow does.
Using her predictive text connection.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for child endangerment
when we see her character, she's landing in Japan and she gets off the phone with her dad, who is in New York now. So her dad was a character in the first movie. So by allowing, and this is after the first bug attack. So
you're right.
By allowing her to travel to this relatively nearby region in Japan to the bug attack, he is continuing his child endangerment from the first film.
Yeah,
even though he technically doesn't appear in this movie.
It's just amazing how like everybody loves bringing this kid towards the monsters. Like in the first one, that cabbie, and everybody was like, "Yeah, get all up in there." And this time, like I don't even think this girl said, "I need to be near Gamera." Did she? I think the woman was like, "Come, let's go check out the monsters."
You're the famous. You're the famous whatever the character's name is.
Yeah, you're the famous Gamera whisperer, you know? And so there's not much. I mean, it's just like a bunch of unsupervised kids near a giant smoldering monster in a bombed out city. Again, there's like you see one adult because the little girl goes, "What, is Gamera okay?" And she's like, "He's sleeping, honey." Meanwhile, they're getting wafts of his seared flesh.
Oh, I was going to ask about that. When the shell explodes off of him, and then he immediately ignites his crotch jets to send him shooting off to fight the bugs once again. What do you suppose that smelled like?
Oh God, not good.
Because it's a shot of all the kids getting blasted with like the wind and the smoke.
A few of them probably got some burns from that.
Oh yeah, no, they all have cancer.
Yeah, Gamera is not caring about those children at all. I love the friend to all children idea because in this, like, Gamera doesn't even give them a nod. He's just like, "Ugh," and then just fucks off.
Yeah.
And the kids are all like, "Yay!" as their hair is being singed.
Yeah, because they're standing at ground zero of an alien pod explosion. The Gamera's like zooming off, like, "Sorry, I can't do anything about your space cancer."
Just blasting even more radiation from its weird little limbs.
It's different kind of. This is Earth cancer. Good old Earth cancer.
Yeah, it's those kids are all dead. I mean. If we want to talk about the radiation, it's just friend to no children ever. But it's just pretty incredible that those kids are just sitting there they should be going to a shelter or something, right? Like, where did they even come from? Were they in the city when it exploded?
It looks like they arrived. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they arrived there. It's a pilgrimage to the sad monster statue.
And again, I didn't see that many adults. There were a few adults,
Yeah, not that many. It was mostly
Not
kids.
that it's mostly kids that have either run away from home or their parents didn't care, or their parents are like back at the hotel.
Yeah, I mean, check it out. It's not the city's not going to get bombed again.
Yeah.
So technically, it's the safest place in Japan.
Right. You're right. You're right. The bombed out, irradiated city. The parents are just like, all right, well, this counts as your vacation this year. We'll go see Gamera's corpse.
Mm-hmm.
What a weird thing happening.
Somebody builds a slide on it.
You know, there'd be some billionaire who's like proposes a theme park.
A theme park, like a casino built up around the monster statue.
Casino, like carved in its skull.
Yeah.
It's sad skull.
It's such a plot of that. Oh gosh, that Chinese film we were watching a preview of that has like Jason Isaacs opening up like a volcano casino.
Oh yeah,
and it's like they're like, well, what if the volcano erupts? He's like that'll never happen.
Yeah, Skyfire is like, check out my volcano casino. Like, but what happens when the volcano erupts? Oh, I can't. That movie's out. You know, we got it.
Is. We can watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like that here, where it's like, so what if the monster wakes up? What are the odds that happen? That'll never happen. Monster's gonna stay asleep for 1,000 years.
Yeah. Monster wakes up, just does like a brief shake and kills like fucking thousands of people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. So yeah, all right. Let's get to our smiling children rank, meaning that how do we do this? Is that the more smiling children, the more safe they are?
I think.
And the less safe. We gave the first movie a 2. That's all I know.
Right. Because Gauss ate a bus full of high school baseball team.
Not many smiling children. Yeah, this
Not
one
too
I
many
feel
smiling
like.
Children.
All right, how do we count? Because in the first one, did a city explode, vaporizing millions?
No, but way more children died on screen.
In the first one, yeah. This is more off-screen child deaths, but you could argue that the first one also has those.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably a higher amount of smiling children, right?
I would think so, yeah. Like he's resurrected in part by the tears of a group of sweet, devoted children.
This might be a 5.
It might be.
We only have one other movie after this.
That's true.
So,
let's give this one a 5. No kids die on screen.
No kids die on screen, and they in fact are smiling children. When he rockets
zooms
into
off,
the atmosphere.
yeah, we actually get that.
Yeah.
The only thing we don't have is the kids singing the Gamera song.
Right. I would say this is not a movie for smiling children.
No.
I mean, certain age. Like, I would watch this when it came out, you know?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Is like, you wouldn't show this to like a 5-year-old.
Well, probably not, but maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
There's blood in this in the subway scene.
Yeah.
Blood spatters.
Well, also,
like, shit.
That's pretty wild. Also, Gamera getting his ass kicked that second time is kind of
brutal.
Intense. Yeah.
It is. Well, shit. All right, 5 smiling children. We'll see how this holds up for episode 3, which will cover Gamera 3, Revenge of Iris. Did we meet Iris yet?
I don't know, but we're gonna see Iris's terrible vengeance in this film.
Because I feel like we haven't met. Was Iris the name of the beast in the first one?
No, it's a monster in this one.
It's a monster in this one?
Mm-hmm. In the third one, I'm sorry. I'm reading about the third one now.
Okay. So it's its own monster.
Yes.
That needs revenge. Did Gamera like rip it off? Like, did Gamera do some sort of credit card scheme?
We'll get into it. We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are. All right. Well, until next time, big thanks to Bobgrenville for making this all happen.
Yeah.
I've been genuinely enjoying these movies. Like you said, they are boring.
Yeah, they're boring for very long stretches, but there's always some incredible moments in them.
Yeah, they're also not that long. This was an hour 40.
Not usually, but they, like I said, man, those dull stretches are real dull.
They are. They really are. Well, what do we do now? Oh, right, we do our ending plugs.
Do we retreat into our shells? Oh no, yeah. Tell them what we got going on.
Sorry, I forgot for a second how to end a podcast.
It's been a long day.
It has been a long day. Well, Bob did this through our Patreon. That address is patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We have tiers there where you can produce your very own podcast series. You can also, for $5 a month, get 2 exclusive podcasts a week. Those podcasts are Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder is a Maniac. There's a tier where you watch movies with us every Friday night. Tom, why haven't we watched the Terminator films, like the originals?
Oh, that's an interesting point. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that this week.
T1 and T2. Wouldn't that be just nice? Because they're like good movies too.
Mm-hmm.
But you can talk over them like they're fun movies.
Yeah, maybe we should do that this weekend.
Yeah, I think we should.
This will be coming out on Saturday, right? So we will have already watched the movies.
Yeah, this is like we're like Tenet or something right now.
Yeah,
We're teneting.
We're teneting. We're doing a Tenet.
We're teneting so hard.
Hey, we're teneting.
We're teneting. We're teneting, everybody.
We also have a store at tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed where you can get t-shirts, masks, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of stuff. So check that out.
Check it out.
We might start selling talismans that give you like a vague kind of connection. It's more like a professional acquaintanceship with Gamera.
Yeah, it'll definitely warm your flesh when you touch it.
Yeah.
You know, it'll do something to your body.
Yeah, it will be hot all the time for no conceivable reason.
Yeah. Like us.
Yeah.
Later.
Yep. Bye.